Hello and welcome back to WePC. Now this week has been a standout week for gaming and tech, and we're here to run you through it all. I'm Elliot. As usual, this is This Week in Gaming and PC. Let's get to it. Now we begin this week with Fable. Now every gamer I know who has played Fable 1 and 2 let out a collective sigh of relief this week because we are finally getting a new Fable game. Now this was announced during Microsoft's Xbox showcase, which was their E3 replacement. We got to see some amazing games and a little bit more about the Series X. Not much, but a little bit. And the Fable game we got looks to be an open world RPG game, which for fans of the original Fable is great. It's exactly what you'd want and coming to next gen, so it's going to look stunning. Then we got a news story that we weren't sure whether was true or not, and well, it's one of the wildest stories we've had in a while. Now you expect games companies to announce their new games through press releases, maybe a gameplay trailer, maybe just a cinematic trailer, anything like that. But what you don't expect is for them to let it slip on a Doritos packet. Now I'm sure you've heard the rumors swirling for months now about the new Call of Duty game, and this is actually the furthest in the year we've ever been without a new Call of Duty game being announced. And we've had snippets. It could be a Cold War game. Well, we all know by now it is a Cold War game, and it's going to be a rehash of Black Ops in the same way that they did Modern Warfare. But there has been no solid confirmation until somebody found a Doritos packet with the new Call of Duty on it. You've got to ask yourself, who has slipped up here and how many of those Dorito packets have actually gone into circulation, because we're pretty sure that they'd be worth a pretty penny right about now. But then that is the risk of cross promotion. One of the entities might always slip up, and they have slipped up this time and let us know that Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War is on the way. Now when that is coming, we don't know how it plays into the current Call of Duty, because we have been getting little teasers in Warzone and in the Intel operations. We also don't know, but we can take a good guess, and that's what we've done, and there is an article on the site waiting for you to read. Then hot off the press of Henry Cavill's gaming video where he put together his PC, we got news of another Witcher series coming by Netflix. Now it's going to be called Blood Origins, and it's going to be set 1,000 years before The Witcher, if you can get your head around the timeline of The Witcher, that is. And it's going to be about how Witchers are created. So we are going to see their home, we're going to see the trials merging, and it's going to be great because we've only ever really heard about it. We've not really seen it. We've read about it. If you have ever read the books, we're not obviously going to see Henry Cavill, but we might see some other people come into it. And I think it's going to be one of those sort of like Game of Thrones prequels where they're talking about the children of the forest, and it's going to be along the same lines of that. But we'll just have to wait and see. Netflix does seem to be doubling down on a lot of its own entities, The Witcher being one of them. Then following in the footsteps of pretty much every other gaming and tech entity in the world, CES finally announced that it was going digital this week. Now, we've known for a little while that CES was going to be going digital, and we were just waiting for the official confirmation, and now we've got it. So CES 2021 is all digital. Not much more to say on the matter. Then a nice little game got released this week called Grounded. Now if you haven't been keeping up with the hype around Grounded, it's basically a Honey I Shrunk the Kids, but in a game. You're in a garden surrounded by all of these massive ants and plants, and I made that rhyme. But you're surrounded by all of these, and within mere hours it was already topping the Steam bestseller list, which for a game like this with massive hype around other games at the minute Cyberpunk 2077 being one of them, it managed to use that and leverage it because it actually got responses from Cyberpunk 2077 from its own self-deprecating tweets. Of course, if you're wanting to play this, you'll need to get a PC that can handle the specification requirements for it, but it does seem like a really beautiful and well-made game that brings a new set of ingenuity rules to a genre that is long forgotten, because we've had the shrunk down games before, we've had the Toy Stories and the Ants and the Bugs Life games, but this takes that and just spins it on its head and brings it out for our generation. I personally am loving it. And for the third continuous week, I'm going to talk about Microsoft Flight Simulator. Now, there's been a lot of news regarding Microsoft Flight Simulator, specifically where it was going to be available. Now, kind of knew obviously Microsoft were going to bring it out on the Xbox, maybe on Game Pass for PC, but then this week we got news that it was going to be available on Steam. With this confirmation, we don't know a lot about it at the minute. We don't know whether it's going to be the freemium version or whether it's going to be the paid all out, you get access to everything version only. But alongside that, and it being on Game Pass, which if you've seen this before, you know I absolutely love the idea of Game Pass and its inception. I think it's brilliant, and every single gaming company should have a Game Pass model now, because Xbox are blowing it out the park with that. It's their saving grace. So Microsoft Flight Simulator is going to be available on that as well. And then finally this week, we got news about Marvel's Avengers game. Now, the more I look at this game and the more stuff that comes out about it and the more information we're getting, the more I'm starting to think that I will actually like this game. Now, there's one way to know for sure, and that's the beta that's coming out soon. Now, the access to the beta is obviously restricted, all of the keys, yada, yada, yada. But it's going to be interesting to see what they allow in that, because we've seen the War Table, we've seen the Miss Marvel line, we've seen all of that. And from this point on, it's where do we get that? Is it going to be worth the wait? Is the information going to be in there for us to definitively say this is going to be a good game? Now, don't get me wrong, still looks janky as hell, but that's because I'm used to Robert Downey Jr., I'm used to Chris Evans, I'm used to Chris Hemsworth and Chris Pratt. There's a lot of Chris's in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but all in all, we know this game is going to have good gameplay. It's just going to be the look and feel, and I think that's going to be the determining factor of how well this game is represented. Now, information on the beta is a little bit scarce at the minute, but we have done a big deep dive into the Avengers game, and there'll be a link in the description below for you to go have a look at everything that we know about the game and form your own opinions. That's it from me this week. We'll be back again next Friday as usual. I say we, it's me sat alone in my living room filming this. So I'll be back again next week with more gaming news and tech news for you, all on the horizon. But in the meantime, if you like what you see, I'm not just talking about me, why not consider subscribing to WePC?